Don't do it.
Boom.
All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to LC Podcast number 34. With me today is Evan, Eric, and
I'm not here.
Matt. And Peter's behind the mic there. Or behind the computer.
I am behind a mic.
You are behind a mic.
Not wrong.
And someone is currently walking down the stairs.
It's probably Graydon.
Graydon
I think
who?
it's Jack.
You
I
think it's
don't
Jack?
even know a Graydon.
It's
Jack.
It's
Oh, it is Jack.
if he takes his hat off, you might not know.
Jack.
Jared, keep doing the intro.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast. This is our second one since our holiday break. And yeah, you guys have topics.
What number
Wow.
podcast is this?
I said 34.
What number podcast is this?
34.
Oh,
Sorry, can you say that again?
what number podcast is this?
Episode 34.
There you
Alright,
go. There's the enthusiasm.
I am so happy to announce, boys, that you can pull out that 5-minute timer again, because even though Pokemon Sword and Shield is already launched, it is time to have some more Pokemon talks, because they aired a Pokemon Direct this past Thursday. 20 minutes of information. Everybody had really, really low expectations. People thought that they were going to do like a detailed explanation of Pokemon Home. People thought DLC for Pokemon Sword and Shield was completely off the table. People had really low expectations, and they opened it up with what?
What?
Pokemon Home. No, that got like a minute at the end. It was like, they were like, yeah, Pokemon Home, we'll tell you about that later.
Pokemon Ultra Sword and Ultra Shield. Let's go.
They opened it up with Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX, which is
Blue.
so hyped because
Blue Rescue
Did
Team.
you ever play? No,
Yes,
it's called Mystery Dungeon DX because.
But it's a remake of Blue Mystery Dungeon.
Well, no, it's
because
a
Blue
remake.
and
multiple
red were the
Mystery
same
Dungeons.
one. Same game.
No,
pretty
blue
much.
was for the DS and red was for the Game Boy Advance, and the DS version had a lot more content in it than the.
I don't know if it had more
Advanced
content.
version.
I actually got the Game Boy Advance version, but I couldn't play it because it ran like garbage. It was not made to be on the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are the original Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games, and I can only speak for myself, but assume with the rest of you, like, so nostalgic for those games. Like,
They're. I'm ready.
Yeah.
My heart is ready. to
I'm ready
dive
for a
back into
Pokemon
those.
game with an actual good story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
really.
Well, I do have
Really.
to say, Explorers of Time and Darkness, I feel, are the better
Yeah.
of the original two games.
Yeah.
Like, at least story-wise, like, that story is, like...
Those games are like the best. They hit some kind of peak with those games, and like the ones they did after weren't so good. Super Mystery Dungeon was pretty good. I think you have it. or
I
you
liked
played
it.
right?
I liked it a
I really
lot.
like those games, but nothing can compare to Explorers of Darkness.
Well,
Explorers
Super
of Time.
Mystery Dungeon had, like, a 22-hour tutorial.
Yeah, it really did.
That's the only one I played.
Yeah. And so yeah, Mystery Dungeon, super exciting. But I think the meat and potatoes of that direct was definitely the Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield expansion pass, which I think kind of blew people out of the water. No one was really expecting it. So let me run through some of the details. So 2 DLC packs, you get them both together when you buy the expansion pass. One is called the Isle of Armor, and the other is called the Crown Tundra. And each
I don't like
pack,
the Crown Tundra name, for the record.
You can be wrong all you want.
Yeah, I don't care about
As we
it.
discussed prior to the podcast starting, all opinions are wrong.
Yes. No, all opinions don't matter.
Oh,
But each DLC
Sorry, I
pack
was-
basically a new wild area.
Yeah, they're completely new wild areas.
Yeah, which is super sick. 200 new and returning Pokemon added. Definitely more heavy on the returning Pokemon for sure. There's going to be like a handful of Galarian forms, maybe a couple of new Pokemon, but usually
I think it's safe to say it's going to be 150 returning Pokemon with 50 like new Pokemon /
Even
forms.
that's
We're gonna.
I was gonna
get
say, that's
a
very
third
ambitious.
Charizard Dynamax Galarian form.
No, because we're getting.
I actually want a water type
No,
Charizard.
we need more Charizards.
That's what I just said. I want a
Yes,
water type Charizard.
More Charizards.
Well, Nintendo will give it to you.
Do they count? Do they count like the Gigantamax forms that are coming out
don't
as
think
new
so.
returning
yeah,
or new Pokemon? Sorry,
I don't think so.
because that's what I'm counting as.
Yeah, fair enough.
So-
I mean, they said 200 plus. No, sorry, 200 plus altogether. Excuse me. That's like 100 for one pack, 100 for the other, basically.
That could be anywhere up to $2.99, really.
I mean, I suppose, but I mean, there's only like there's
$2.99.
The plus means anything, really. It could be a bill. All of them.
Oh, 200 plus.
We can get all the
otherwise-
Pokemon.
They're actually
Everyone's
introducing
more than-
201. That's all. They just want. It sounds better when you say 200 plus. No one wants to
Yeah,
see
it's-
201 Pokemon coming. They want to see 200 plus
Yeah,
Pokemon.
It's like you don't want to buy something that's $20, but if it's $19.99,
That's a deal.
But yeah, so each one has kind of its own little kind of like extra new mode that you get to do. So for the Isle of Armor, there's like a dojo that you can participate in, and the dojo is intertwined with the story, and it's how you get that expansion's legendary Pokemon. And then there's an exploration one where it's like a co-op mode where you explore Pokemon dens and
yeah,
you
you're
fight.
like it's like dungeoneering from RuneScape.
Yeah, kind of. I mean,
Pokemon.
I don't really know what to
It's a
expect.
dungeon
for the
crawl.
most
Matt,
part.
it's been 5 minutes. We're gonna move on now.
Okay. Yeah, introduce Bob.
I'm really stoked for the Crown Tundra because it literally is going to be a dungeon crawl where all you encounter are legendary Pokemon.
Yeah, which
It's
is
gonna
kind of
be
sick.
crazy.
Can I just real quick, because I'm not on mic, so I'm gonna interject while I'm here. Do you not feel like most of this could be in the game that came out? Don't you feel like this is a little shady for Nintendo to just throw, hey, more money for us?
Yeah, I'm like, don't get me wrong, I am a little bit conflicted about it. I'm starting to wonder if for Pokemon I should really just stop worrying about or wondering about what we're entitled to and what I think each game should be and just enjoy what we get. Because while this is really exciting and it's cool that they're taking like a different direction, because they basically said in the direct that those third versions like Emerald, Platinum, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, they're not doing those anymore.
Yeah,
because
this is in lieu of it.
yeah, because those were basically DLC anyways, but you paid a whole new game, or you bought a whole new game, just to play the exact same story through again with some minor tweaks. It wasn't necessarily worth a whole new game. But like Peter was asking me about this a while ago, like there's a lot that I really love about Sword and Shield, but what I dislike so much about the games is how unpolished and unfinished they felt. You know, like in a lot of ways, it felt like we were getting less and we were getting more cut content just to pay more for the games, right? So,
But in what ways did you find it unpolished and unfinished? Because when I think about that, the only thing that feels like it's not a complete Pokemon game is the fact that they didn't have all 900 Pokemon in it.
yeah, I mean,
But can we truly expect every new game? Like,
Yes.
And was an advocate for like fuck Game Freak for this whole Nat Dex thing.
yeah.
But now I'm of the opinion like we can't just expect these game producers to constantly put in everything from previous games. Like look at Smash Bros. They got away until the game Smash Bros 6, not including every single character they've ever come out with. And nobody was like, I mean, I'm sure there was still people upset about that, but they weren't like, "Oh, this game is unpolished because we don't have every single fighter they've ever had in the franchise."
But isn't that just a built-in expectation? So it's like you just said exactly why that wouldn't happen to Smash Bros. Is because they started by not constantly including everything from the last game. So they've already set the fact that they're like, we're not including everything from each game by never including everything from each game.
Yeah, and my counter to that is like Nintendo was ambitious as things got bigger and bigger to continually put Pokemon in their games. But look at it in terms of like what we see on YouTube for YouTube channels. They create these YouTubers will create these shows, and then now there's this expectation going forward that you always need to create that show. But what happens when the content creator has no passion in creating that anymore? Either they keep making it and it gets worse and worse over time because they're not innovating and they're not putting enough passion into it, or they cut it and they come up with something cooler and something unique that they actually are passionate about. So with Game Freak, they don't want to spend all their resources constantly creating the same Pokemon they've been making all these years because that takes time and they're not probably passionate about it anymore. They're more passionate about making these new Pokemon, having these new features, creating these DLCs. And I think it's justified that they're not putting all these Pokemon in anymore.
But I wasn't countering that. I was just saying that if you've created a community that has an expectation because of what you've given them so far, it's not really the community's fault for being, oh, why aren't you doing this? Yes, it's a change, and every creator needs to change based on what they're passionate about, because otherwise the games are shit. But they create that community anyways. It's just going to take time. Like whether they want to or not, it's just going to take time for people to come around and understand. It's like, okay, it's changing now. We're not going to have the same thing over and over again. But the fact that they created that community, it's going to take time for people to accept the fact that they're not going to do
Yeah,
that.
but just because you're a person that can't accept that doesn't mean that the game itself is unfinished or unpolished.
But it
That's
can,
what I'm trying
but
to
it can
say.
appear that way.
It can appear it, but that doesn't mean that that's actually the case.
No, I know, but that you could say that about a lot of things.
Oh yeah. Always.
Oh yeah.
What were you gonna say?
It's just, I think that's the problem with a lot of communities right now is it's like they seem like they are entitled to things. Companies don't owe you anything. Nintendo and Game Freak owns none of these people a single thing, and people are like, you have to bend over backwards to give me my Pokemon back and do all this. They don't have to do any of that.
Well,
They
other thing-
really could just have made Ultra Sword and Ultra Shield and like coasted on what they've done the whole time, but they are trying to like do different stuff and like I guess like just change how the series has gone. But the consumers are like, we should be getting this, and this all the time because that's what we've gotten before. It's like you don't deserve any of that.
the best part about that is like, if people really cared, like if people were like actually taken back by the fact that they weren't doing it, they wouldn't buy the game.
Yeah.
The fact that they sell as much as they do means that obviously people aren't too hurt about it. They just want to bitch about it because that's
Yeah.
what people do. When you
Yeah.
don't, when you have the opportunity, you're like, oh, here's my chance. I'm going to bitch about it. There you go.
Yeah.
You have your opportunity.
Well, the cool thing about this expansion pass, like on the basis of purely content, is that it brings basically everything that I felt like Sword and Shield was missing. Basically everything in my like relatively small post Sword and Shield wish list of like things that I maybe thought that they were going to do or hoped they were going to do, and then they didn't end up deciding to do, like regional variants of legendary Pokemon, or like, you know, bringing back these Pokemon, or even smaller details like the fact that there's these like really rare Pokeballs that they introduced in Generation 2.
Apricots.
Apricots.
And you
Yeah!
you
Those are
get
coming
one of
back.
them in the game, and that's it. And they brought back these Pokeballs a couple generations ago, which was sick. But then they kept only giving you one, which was a pain in the ass. One new thing in this DLC, so you can get more. It's a small detail, but it's like just stuff like that. That like when the second DLC comes, or second DLC pack comes out in the fall, those games are going to be huge. There's going to be so much to them. They're like, it's just going to be such a content-filled game. But I think the thing that doesn't sit well with me is that like, to be delivered this game at its like most potential and with this crazy amount of content, we're paying $120 for it. And like the money, it's a bit subjective, and it's nice to pay for DLC instead of paying for a brand new game. But like, I find it a bit weird that they did that practice that a lot of game companies get criticism for, where they put less stuff in the base game in anticipation for putting it in DLC. Which
Yeah.
but
But,
that
like-
also could be a cost thing. Because you got to look at it. Like nowadays, things cost more money to produce, which is why games no longer cost $50, $49, $99 or whatever.
Our economy
Things
sucks too.
things cost money. So it's like if when they're producing those games, you can say that, okay, maybe they just held back and they're like, okay, we don't need to put this in there. Or maybe their timeline's set up so it's like, to make this game an $80 game, to make money off of it, to profit, we have to not put this stuff in right now. Like, we can't afford to. Otherwise, you're just giving away money.
Yeah, you have
Right?
deadlines. You have that are set before the game even starts being produced, right? And you have your goals.
Because like, if in that way, you could say that every single game that releases a DLC was holding back and not setting out their stuff.
Yeah.
That's
Right,
the thing
that's-
that pisses me off is like, why are we drawing the line in the sand for Game Freak now? Like, this is a common practice in the gaming industry. Why are we using Game Freak as like the game? It is game. They're the scapegoat. We have paid DLC because Game Freak is doing this. They're perpetuating this toxic thing, and it's like they're doing the same thing every other game has
Y'all
done.
wouldn't believe what Electronic Arts is doing.
Yeah. Well, I got into an
That's
argument.
fine.
I got into an argument on Twitter with a buddy of mine who was saying like, who was like countering that, being like, oh well, no other Switch title is doing this as well, and I'm like, no, they are. Like, look at even look at Breath of the Wild. As amazing of a game that is, they make you pay for a DLC, which is just the hero trials, and that's like 2 hours worth of content at most.
Lackluster.
Yeah, so like,
And
it's-
for hard mode, pretty much.
yeah, and for hard mode. So like, that's that's a game that's huge, but then they're making you pay for something teeny at the end. Versus that's kind of like the juxtaposition for like a short game that's giving you more content at the end, or even like any paid DLC can be considered, like we've been saying, as an addition that could have come out with the base game. But no one does that anymore. That hasn't been done in over 10 years. DLC has been a major thing of the gaming world for over 10 years.
If it's a day one DLC, that's something different, because then it's like, oh yeah, that should have been in there. But if it's something that comes out even a month or 2 months down the line, it's like, yeah, that's something they worked on after like the whole behind the scenes of getting it published and to the stores and like into the like gaming marketplace.
Yeah, and the Isle of Armor, it only has concept art still. That was the trailer. We didn't actually get game footage of it.
We got a bit. Like
well-
not like a demo or anything, but like
No, but we got game footage of the Crown Tundra.
Yeah.
I didn't see any game footage for...
it was just small snippets, like because the trailer was like shot, like going back and forth. But like I remember, like the one that sticks in my memory for some reason is somebody riding the Rotom bike on water in a cave that you see and stuff like that.
I remember 2 people running up to another den as well, I think by a beach or something, and they were like, you can do this. It's like, well,
you actually saw like a decent amount of snippets of how the games look and stuff like that. So
But anyways, the DLC like is used to keep the game relevant for a year too. It's dropping in the summer and then it's dropping in the fall, which keeps the game relevant for more than a year. And it's like, what would like we've been saying, would you rather buy another game in a year's time with this content in it, or would you rather just pay $30 and get more content?
It is kind of cool that Sword and Shield will have a much longer life cycle because of this. Because I remember like you know, all of this excitement for Sword and Shield, and then like and I'm gonna play this game so much until the next one comes out next year, right? So like like overall I am really excited about it. It's kind of hard to brush off some of those feelings of like, oh, that is a bit kind of shady though, but you do bring up some good points. And like I said, I think maybe with Pokemon it's best to just think about what you're getting and not what you're... I mean, because let's be honest, like I'm gonna give my Pokemon my entire wallet. If it's got Pokemon in the title, I'm probably buying it. So why have standards about how much you're spending or how much you think you should be spending when you're gonna flush out for it anyways, right?
And it also sounds like they're gonna come out with more expansions too. So
do
we
hope
might
so.
see a second expansion pack that comes out 2 years from now. And are people then going to be like, well, that could have been part of expansion pack. I could only pay $30.
Yeah.
It's like, no, just shut up. You're going to get it anyways.
Yeah.
You're either going to get complaining now and going to get it anyways and enjoy it and not care in 2 years' time, or you're talking shit even though you've never played the game and you're not going to buy it because you just, you don't play it. But you're still talking shit anyways because you think it's going to be shit.
Yeah. Well, one thing that they did that was a spectacular decision, they probably did it a bit out of fear because they knew how much backlash they would get. I mean, hell, they're getting backlash from people misconceiving the thing. But
Paywalls.
Basically, the Pokemon that they're adding to these expansion packs are available universally. So that you'll get an update to your Sword and Shield copy when that new DLC comes out regardless, and then any Pokemon that's made available in the new DLC packs you can have in your game. The only way that you can catch them in a non-expansion pass game is to join a raid of somebody who does.
So they're
Join raids.
free, but they're not.
Well,
they're
yeah,
not
like,
really.
they're not-
you can't really get
you
them.
have to join a raid of theirs. You have to be traded it from someone, or you can transfer the older Pokemon from Pokemon Home.
Yeah, so like even if for whatever reason I didn't buy the expansion pass, I would be able to get like pretty much all of those Pokemon other than the ones that are brand new, because I'll have Pokemon Home.
the
right?
darkest
so,
timeline.
For whatever reason.
Darkest time.
God forbid.
if I wake up on the well, actually no, that's impossible because I already pre-ordered the DLC.
Did you really?
I feel like they didn't even finish it, and Matt was like, "Where is it? Where is it?"
take my money.
So here's an interesting question then for you, Mr. Matthew.
Okay.
Matthew Griffiths.
Mr. Matthew.
Are we going to be having 2 more all-day Pokemon streams for each of these DLC drops?
Are we asking me? Do I get a say?
No, you
Nope.
don't say.
I don't think
Peter, are you excited to have 2 more all-day
The
Pokemon
one
streams?
was a lot.
I don't think.
Back-to-back days.
I don't think I'm gonna go
No, they
as
come out like
heavy on
6
them.
months apart from each other.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get up at like 6:45 in the morning so I can
can't
be
touch
here
it for
and play it
6
as soon as
months.
possible. But
Dusty says yes, do it.
yeah, we will.
I want to do that. I was actually sad the next day. when
Again,
I was
Peter
like,
has
it's
no
over.
say. Matt's like, yep, yeah, we are 100%.
It's like sleepovers when we were kids. I would just get a text or a phone call. Peter, we're sleeping over tonight. Huh?
Oh, where? At your house. Oh. Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
Can
we
I
used
ask
to
my
pull
mom, or does it not matter?
No, he doesn't get to ask. We did that to Peter a lot. We'd always Eric and I would make a plan to go to a movie with like our friend Alec, and we'd be driving, and we were probably like 3 minutes out from like driving past Peter's place, and then we were like, oh, Peter should come too, and then we'd be like, hey Peter,
I'm an afterthought.
you're coming to a movie with us. No, because that's what we always did, and I was just like, hey at some point, it just became like we did it on purpose. To just like mess with you. Like,
Who needs warning?
We're going to a
Like-
movie, Peter. Yeah, we're outside your door. What?
Hey, Peter, we're here. Come out. For what? A movie. What?
Okay, hold on. Let me ask my mom. Okay, I'm coming.
Yeah. Well, overall, pretty stoked about the DLC. We'll definitely do some streams when they come out. Dusty, it's happening. Peter, I'll be here 6:45 a.m. pal. You better be
Pokemon.
ready. Oh, here we go. What's Buddy got to say?
No, I got a topic for after this. If you guys, sounds like
Okay,
you're
well-
wrapping up.
Yeah, well, hit us with it. Lay it on us.
I know you're a big fan of Tony Stark there, Matt, and his lovely wife Pepper Potts.
Don't,
Gwyneth
dude,
Paltrow.
don't. We're not giving this dumb bitch more fucking publicity than
Vagina
she needs.
candle.
She doesn't need any more for her stupid alternative wellness piece of shit company. Fuck
but-
Goop. Fuck Gwyneth Paltrow. She can suck a dick.
But should we actually get the candle to see? what
No,
it actually
it's
smells
sold
like?
out.
I'm sorry.
It's fucking sold out. You can't.
Did you say vagina candle?
Stop.
Jesus
Yeah, it's a
Christ.
candle, and the candle is called "This Smells Like My Vagina."
No way.
Yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah. This smells like my vagina candle. I
wait,
honestly
yeah.
want to get the candle, and that's why it's sold out, because everyone's like, I wonder if this candle actually smells like
You're
a
not
vagina.
gonna know.
75.
You don't know what her vagina smells like. No one's gonna be like, yep, that's Gwyneth
you know what?
Paltrow's vagina.
Yeah, but Eric,
There's no point.
You know, Eric, I do have to say though, if I smell the candle and it smells like apple cinnamon or some shit, obviously that's not her fucking vagina.
What?
I'm sorry. It's Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina specifically. I mean, I don't know who else's vagina.
No,
it
I
would
don't
be,
think
but-
so. Cause like she said, like a vagina.
I mean,
So I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be like it smells like your vagina. Like
It
it's
probably
like
s-
it's like
It probably just smells like skin. You know what skin smells like? Your skin.
do it.
I'm smelling my skin. My
mean,
skin smells like pizza right now because I just had pizza.
not a flex or anything, but I've smelled enough vaginas to know that I do not want a candle that smells like vagina. That's disgusting.
Fill the
Yeah,
order.
but vaginas have different smells.
That,
Yeah, I
so
don't
did
like
you-
any of them.
I'm gonna put Eric through a little bit of pain here. Like that's the first thing that kind of led me down this rabbit hole. She also has this like new.
Why are we going into her snake oil racket? Stop.
No, I don't know anything about that. I was going to talk about her new next Netflix special that's promoting
that's bullshit.
Same thing.
false sciences.
What?
No, Jerry, you would love it.
What?
We talk about all kinds of stuff that is like good for the body, like
Yeah, putting
shoes are
crystals up your vagina,
Yeah.
according to her, is good for your
that's
fucking
good.
body.
And then shoes are prisons, and apparently, if you walk around barefoot more often, you'll reconnect with the earth and absorb its aura, so you can sleep better.
So,
and-
so can I change? Can I tackle that specific statement?
I don't know. You should talk to Gwyneth Paltrow.
Can I tackle this?
I'm connecting with Earth, boys. Hold on.
There's-
Oh my god. Get
there-
your feet
there
out
is-
of
I'm gonna
there.
connect with Peter's table right now.
So I'm not sure about this whole connect with the earth thing again, but it is true that shoes compress the metatarsals in such a way that it actually negatively impacts your dispersion of forces when stepping. Toes are supposed to be splayed out. That's
Shoes
how we're
are
naturally-
feet.
I don't like that word.
I can agree
Wait,
with that.
They are supposed to when they press down they're supposed to spread out instead of right now
We're
what
monkeys.
happens because of our shoes
Apes.
they keep them together so our forces are dispersed really heavily.
Are we supposed to walk with our knuckles? as
I'm
well?
Homo superior.
I'm gonna dick slap you.
I'm Homo erectus.
Metatarsans, isn't that what the
Big
force
slap.
is made of?
What's that?
Metatarsans? Isn't that what the force is made
It's
of?
midichlorians.
Midichlorians.
I hope they never release another.
No, that's
Pokemon
Metamorph-
So funny.
The boy has the most midichlorians I've ever seen in life form.
More than Yoda.
He doesn't wear shoes. He's connected with the.
I mean, what's the science behind that? Like, how can she actually
There is
sit
none.
down in front of a camera?
It's probably because she's like, hey, Jared is right that it's better for you to walk around barefoot. So that's the truth. Now let me take the little bit of truth and pile on a shit ton of lie on it, and people will believe the shit out of it.
She
because
just-
the best lies have truth sprinkled within them.
She just gets a bunch of stoned fucking hippies to sit in a room and they're like, yo, what could we possibly make people fucking spend money on? That'd be fun. Maybe some dude writing a book about mustard baths or some shit. People will buy that for $100.
It's just another bathwater incident, Like it's just.
It's worse than that.
Is it?
Yeah, she's formed a cult, dude. Have you seen any of these videos? It's people.
What do you mean
It's
bathwater
young,
thing?
impressionable adults who are going in thinking they have problems, and they're spending thousands of dollars on this dumb bitch with no scientific basis. It's just there's no fucking point.
Jared, it's referring to what's her name?
It's
Delphine?
a scam.
She had a bath and she sold the bathwater.
Oh yeah, Belle Delphine.
Gamer
And
girl
because
bathwater.
she's like a streamer or something. I don't know.
And then it went around that someone drank the water and got some sort of disease, but that was
Hell yeah.
super false.
This is why you got to be very careful with who you trust in the health industry, because there's a lot of bullshit out there.
What do you mean? What? This has nothing to do with the health industry.
No,
This is
but in
straight up
general,
a
in general.
pseudoscience cult, like
Yeah,
Eric said.
I don't trust pseudoscience whatsoever.
It is like a crime that people can get away with this shit, though,
My-
right? Like,
Well, remember
the law is coming after
when we were
you.
kids, there was that bracelet that came out that had the two magnets in it, and it said it would improve your balance and make you a better golfer and all this bullshit. But in reality, it was just two magnets on a rubber band
Yeah,
that
dude.
costs $57.
I was at Cross Iron Mills, and this guy who was trying to sell them came up to me, and he asked to do a demo, and I was too shy to say no, which I regret. And he tells me to hold my arm out, and he's pushes my arm down, and he's like, or I forget exactly how it went down, but he pushed my arm down, and then I put it back up, and then he asked me to hold my phone in my hand, and he did it again. And this time he pushed 40 times harder than he did before, and it startled me. And he was like, yeah, you're because you're holding your phone in your hand, it weakens your muscles. This is why you have to have this magnetic bracelet. I'm
That just infuriated me.
Yeah,
for
I
a
was
lot
like-
for a lot of reasons. If you're holding something in your hand, you're engaging more muscles throughout your arm, which means no, you are not weaker by doing that.
well,
But
it's
you
the
are.
electromagnetic waves or
But
something.
a guy in the mall said so.
You're gonna trust that guy.
Again, this is why I hate the health and wellness industry as much as I love it, because there's so much bullshit out there and
Yeah, but
people
that's
believe
pseudo.
it.
That's pseudoscience.
But there's
It's not really health.
actual science that's also bullshit too.
well, pseudoscience.
Name one science. That's bullshit.
Name one right now.
Astrology.
Name one bullshit science.
I can
Astrology.
in the
Hit
health
me with it.
in the health industry, the whole thing behind what a lot of the associations. I actually had a huge controversial article come out regarding increased intake of nutrients based on refined carbohydrates, and how
These are big words.
and how you no longer. It's not people the Heart Health Association says to make yourself healthier, eat 40% carbohydrates, give or take. I don't know, 35% proteins, and the remainder is fats. So that is false. That is not healthy for you, because what it does is it superloads your insulin levels. So now all of a sudden your body is all the way up here with its insulin levels, and insulin takes glucose and stores it as fat. So when people are talking about when you're eating carbohydrates and they're like, oh no, eat carbohydrates, fats are bad for you, shouldn't do that, bad for your heart. That's false. That's actually one of the few things, healthy fats are one of the few things that do not cause insulin level increases, which means they actually promote weight loss. Healthy
Follow
fats.
Jared
Sorry,
and
when?
his fitness
So,
program
Fat
on Instagram.
makes me not fat.
No, you missed the whole statement. So
He just heard
so
fat.
things the other thing is so the big thing that they came out with is that insulin is this thing that dictates weight gain or weight loss, because they tested people with obesity gene, they tested people who were supposed fast metabolisms. You can make anyone obese, you can make anyone thin by adjusting your insulin levels.
You're obese. Pew! You're obese.
You'd actually be surprised how quick it is.
Really?
Yeah, it's actually surprising how fast your body changes based on that. Because humans adaptively are able to survive on starvation. We have gone through history and evolutionary standpoints where we've had to be able to survive
You
starvation.
heard about the Ukrainians? They dealt with some shit.
Yeah. And you look at any kind of time when we've been through
Leave my socks on.
droughts or whatever, and humans don't die. Your body can survive quite a while without food. And
Suspiciously long.
That's because lipogenesis occurs, which is the whole formation of new fats, taking stored fat and using it as energy.
That's actually what my ultimate ability is
Don't
called.
fat shame fat, Jed.
I'm not.
Okay.
So wait, I could so I could change the level of insulin in my body and I could reduce the amount of insulin in my body and I would lose weight. Is that what you're
Yes.
saying? And how do I do this?
So
This is where you have to pay a fee to keep going.
this is where my free service ends.
Free service.
This is the ad that shows up before your YouTube video, and you gotta click and then subscribe to his channel.
All you gotta do is buy a bracelet.
No, I have to buy a vagina camera.
To answer your question about that, the biggest issue right now is that there's a huge percentage of people, and the reason obesity is so high in North America is because of the fact that insulin resistance is now occurring, where your body has become so insulin resistant because it's constantly flowing. If you are eating, you are producing insulin. So, and you need to think about it. Your body's like, the issue with old ways of eating is that it was assuming that the body was stupid. It was saying that, oh, you know what, if I lower my caloric intake, my body's not smart enough to lower my metabolism to meet it.
The old way of eating. I remember that. Eating through the nose.
And vice versa, where it's like if I eat more, my body's not smart enough to raise its metabolism, so I'm just going to get fat because I eat more calories.
This is kind of on that. I don't know if it's as related, but I heard, and I don't know if it's true. Matt can kind of weigh in on it. I heard that like the reason why the Americas are more obese than like the UK and Europe is because of like the difference in eating styles, I guess. Like here you'll just eat until you're fucking full. Like you'll just keep eating until you're full, while apparently in the UK and Europe they'll eat until their meal is done.
So
okay, yeah.
On that note, the reason, and it is a dietary difference. So North America is renowned for its refined carbohydrates. We have fast food here. We have everything. Everything is refined. Our wheat is refined. Everything's turned into something else.
Go America.
The issue is when you refine something, you eliminate all the nutrients. So let's use grain as an example. We have dwarf grain now, so it's kind of bad anyway. It's
I
not
hate grain.
ideal. But grain itself
Peter Grain.
is usually high in fiber. Like if you took a thing of grain out of the fields and you just ate it, you'd have a high fiber.
Delicious.
When you refine it, you get rid of everything except for the carbohydrates, the glucose chains. So the issue is that with North Americans, your macros, you have 3 macros, you have your proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. You have other nutrients, but let's just stick to those 3.
Okay.
Protein and fats have satiety hormones. So your body releases them saying you're full, you don't need to eat anymore. So if you've ever been somewhere and you've eaten a lot of food and then you kind of get that feeling when even smelling food, you get sick, right? That is the satiety hormones telling your body, I'm done. You should not eat anymore.
I think I've killed those hormones.
They've been beaten to death.
But listen, carbohydrates
Those don't exist in me.
don't have a satiety hormone. They do not chemically react. They are directly absorbed and produce fat through the liver. So that's the issue. Same thing with when you absorb carbohydrates, they're so absorbed so quickly that your body can keep eating food. So that is why people in North America can constantly eat way more. So if you took like a thing of, I don't know, we'll go with this because we had a video on it and I'm thinking about it. You take a whole bunch of McDonald's fries. You lay them on the table. You say you have the same amount of weight. So we'll say 2 kilograms of fries. And then you take 2 kilograms of broccoli. I guarantee you someone will be able to finish those fries before they'll be able to finish that broccoli in separate seatings. So the
That's
whole
because the
thing,
fries taste better.
Yeah, I
But
was
I
gonna
mean-
say,
and the whole thing is that your body doesn't acknowledge that you're done. And the insulin starts firing up. And as soon as insulin fires up, your body starts storing fat. And that puts it under stress. And if you are an cortisol stressor, you now have cortisol also impacting negatively on your body. So the whole thing behind him is that it's not saying that all carbohydrates are bad, because if you look at Asian cultures, roughly 75% of their older diets, not anymore. Now you're seeing an obesity rise in them as well, because North America is now having a greater impact globally than it is just on its own. So now you have them gaining weight, but on their old diet, it was 75% of natural carbohydrates. So anything their rice fields are much different from North America, where ours is very refined. Like we have specifically modified foods to be a certain way. The same thing when you look at a lot of the carbohydrates they do eat are very high in fiber, and fiber counters insulin because it slows down. So if you have carbohydrates that are high in fiber, you will feel full because fiber moves slowly through the gastric system. Whereas a carbohydrate that is not high in fiber, your body just processes it like nothing. That's why people are like, oh, well, before you work out, you should go eat food. And that's why people say that it's not, when you're losing weight, like exercise has its place in everything. Exercise is really good for bone density, heart health, other organ health as well, brain function, but it does not have a direct correlation to weight loss. Because if you think about it, if you were to work out, you have any kind of equilibrium. So if you worked out, you burn like maybe, I'd say on average, people burn about 200 to 300 calories on a workout, give or take. Your basal metabolism is probably around 2,500. That 300 is a minuscule amount in comparison to your basal metabolism. Not to mention, if you burn that much, your body's going to want that much back because it equalizes it. So it adjusts your basal metabolism to see, okay, you know what, I need to lower my basal metabolism. So we're going to go about 50% on kidney function today and 50% on liver function. And we're going to make sure we lower our metabolism because our brain and heart are most important. And that's the biggest issue. So that's why their whole thing is talking about like the North American diet versus other diets. You need every other diet but North America has higher in fiber, higher in non-refined carbohydrates. And they usually will have like the whole thing. It's really funny because they used to say you should eat more throughout the day. You should eat, 5-6 meals a day. Keep eating through the day. But then you have no point in your day where you're insulin deficient, which is not a good thing. Because yes, your blood sugar will be wonderful. Your insulin's putting all the glucose out of your blood. You're fine. But you now have extreme high levels of insulin. So it's just storing. And now you have insulin resistance not only developing in your organs, but you have muscular insulin resistance, which is where exercise actually does help with weight loss, as it helps get rid of the insulin resistance in the muscles. It's a lot of it was conflicting because it's now contradicting the Diabetes Association, it's contradicting the Heart Health Associations, and it's not false. Like the science behind it makes 100% sense when you think about it.
Sorry, I just laughing because I just realized this whole thing started because I just asked you to give me one example.
And now I'm giving you more.
In like 15 minutes.
Professor Jared, when are your office hours?
I was just saying, we're in like a TED Talk.
I was giving Jared my most intense focus and trying to follow along. And I see this guy start laughing. And I'm just
sorry,
like, come on,
Professor.
keep it
Dusty said that he was so confused about what he was hearing by the end.
But Mr. So subscription service shortcome is if I want to reduce my insulin levels, I shouldn't eat and I should work out more.
I should have been taking notes.
Evan didn't listen to a single fucking thing you said.
I did.
Wait, Jared.
No, because the second part you just said was incorrect. Because I completely.
So
No, you said,
Listen, if you want to know, I can describe the whole actual thing in a lot more detail.
For $200 a month. Jared.
Not for $200 a
when I
month.
work out, I make my fats insulin resistant. Isn't that what you said?
No, that is not what I said.
What did you say?
Okay.
then?
I said there's no.
where did you lose him?
Okay, so if we're solely looking at
It's to ground himself and to become more
Yeah,
with the
trying to
earth,
become
like
one with
Gwyneth
the
Paltrow
earth.
says.
Yeah.
if you're talking solely about, so you have causes.
Exercise.
So in order for
relation
something-
to insulin, what
so-
did you say at the end there?
I said that exercise can help with insulin resistance in the muscles.
Yeah,
It's not
that's
going to
what I meant.
directly correlate with obesity or weight loss.
That's
So this-
that's what I was going
This
for.
the thing.
Insulin resistance. And
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So the rule, the whole, the story, more of the story is insulin is the cause, is being proved as the cause of obesity as the fat storage. Cortisol being a core morbidity where it's just there as along for the ride and helps
Insulin's
out.
like a Gatling gun. The more you eat, the faster it just fucking pumps.
Yeah,
up.
and the
so
the
what's
issue is like when you look at people, you look at a culture that, like, a lot of religions, for example, or not a lot of religions, but there are religions that require fasting.
Oh, okay,
When
I
your
see.
body goes into fasting, it goes into a hyper version of what they're talking about, where it's like your insulin levels have nothing to put away. There's no glucose coming in, so they're like, okay, we got to shut down, so get rid of it. Let's pump it out of our body. Let's break it down and get rid of it. We don't need it anymore. So it breaks it down, and now your body goes into neolipogenesis, which is again the formation
That's not
of
a
new
word.
fat. It is a word.
Nope.
Spell it.
Neolipogen. I'm not gonna fucking finish.
Okay,
Peter forgot half of that.
As soon as it went over 6, I was like, well, that's
So
too
then you
late.
start producing more fat.
So you
to
start
make up
to use
for it.
as energy, not producing
Oh, you
fat.
start
You start burning fat, so it takes your fat that's stored and makes it into a usable formation that is not glucagon.
Oh.
Or glycogen. Sorry, glucagon's the one that takes it out.
So the only effective way to reduce your insulin is just to not eat.
No, the only effective way to reduce your insulin is to eat less refined carbohydrates and to periodically fast. So this is the thing where they call intermittent fasting. I think it's got a bad reputation in a lot of the health industry because a lot of people think of, oh, I'm in a starvation mode. It's like, no, your body would have to not eat for about a week to be in a starvation mode. That is not a very false statement.
Entering starvation.
The thing is the thing that causes people to assume that is that if you are, what most people in their day eat a lot of carbohydrates. Like most people eat bread, pastas, things like that, a lot of it, and probably a lot of fast food too in North America. So if you go on a fast and then all of a sudden, your body is in a point where it's like, I need energy. So whatever it gets next is it's going to store that as in whatever way it knows best. So what do most people eat? They eat carbohydrates. So the reason people gain weight when they fast a lot of the time is what they'll do is they'll fast. They'll be like, I'm doing healthy stuff, which is true. But then you go and counter that by immediately going, oh, I'm going to go to McDonald's and buy a Big Mac meal. So it's like, the thing is like intermittent fasting could be something like this. Like, you know how they used to say 3 meals a day?
Yeah.
They used to say.
A lot of the time now, like the misconception was now you should eat more, but they used to say 3 meals a day. They're going back to that because your body, you shouldn't eat unless you actually are hungry. It's not if you're bored. There's a big difference between thinking about food and your stomach actually telling you you're hungry.
These two not together.
So it's like you waiting to be actually hungry is what you technically should do because your body is smart.
Yikes.
It tells you, it literally gives you
Knows that.
indications of when it needs to do stuff.
My body's not smart. My body's a piece of shit.
But a lot of this stuff comes down to that, and there's a lot of other implications of a lot of nutrition. Nutrition impacts a lot of things regarding it's definitely the biggest cause of a lot of like the chemical breakdown inside the body, and that's the biggest issue. Is the way we're going is it's not a good way to go.
But it's also not good to cut carbs out completely.
No,
right?
but that's why it's considered a low carbohydrate but unrefined. The biggest thing is cutting out is not like eliminating because people enjoy life. It's like you look in any culture in the past, they have big functions, then they'll have big meals, big glorious meals. They eat a whole bunch of food, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of those cultures at the same time would have a fast at the end of it.
Right. Well, like look at I don't actually remember what it's actually called, but the with the fasting where you can't eat.
It's Ramadan.
Ramadan during
Yeah.
you can't eat while the sun is up, but once Ramadan is done, they have a massive feast.
Yeah.
So
And the big thing is, and that shows you, like a lot of those people who stick true to Ramadan will fast for a month, like an entire month, no food, just water and like tea.
well, they're allowed to eat in the night. They're just not allowed to eat.
No,
during
but
the day.
some of them will.
While the sun is
some
up.
of them will go
Oh yeah.
straight through. It's not easy. Like it's not by no means it's easy. But the thing is like a lot of the time with it, and kind of reeling back to the 3 meals a day thing, is intermittent fasting is like so if you were to fast 16 hours, you have about an 8-hour period of eating, which is reasonable. You have 8 hours to eat your 3 meals. So you spread your meals out 2 to 3 meals. So a lot, like you look at a lot of European cultures, they don't actually, breakfast isn't a big meal. That's a westernized consideration where
Yeah,
we're
it's
like,
well,
breakfast needs to be this glorious
lunch is
meal.
Doing it
the
right
big
then.
thing. Lunch is the big thing, right?
Yeah, well, it's like lunch and dinner are like their thing, but yeah, more so lunch.
Yeah.
Brunch.
So a lot of when they're doing a lot of this research, they're looking at it now as like, okay, if you eat your 3 meals and you cut out or you cut out refined carbohydrates, you increase your healthy fats, you have your proteins, because the neat thing about proteins is they also cause an insulin response, but they also have gastrin, which is the satiety hormone for proteins. So when you have enough proteins, your body's like, okay, gastrin's out, done. So a lot of that issue comes there. But yeah, the 3 meals a day, if you spread them out and you had those periods of not eating and you balanced it with the periods of eating and you cut out refined carbohydrates and had to give a 16-hour fast, give or take it while you're sleeping, A, it makes fasting easier. B, you give your body a chance to not constantly be producing storage hormones, and you reduce insulin resistance. The issue is if you have a high insulin resistance already, it's going to take a while to reduce that because you've already caused that barrier. Your body has a set weight that it's trying to keep. And the higher your insulin levels, the higher that set weight is because your body deems as the ideal weight for your body.
Insulin, I know that word.
So would that be the reason why if you tried to do like an intermittent fasting, but you already had like the high levels, that's why it would be tougher for you because you just feel like you're starving. right?
Exactly. And you're actually going through
Withdrawal.
of an addiction to sugar because a lot of refined carbohydrates are condensing glucose, which is a highly addictive contents to your brain. It causes your brain to basically, and it's like I don't know, it's like anything. It just,
Follow it'd be -1 to intelligence, -1 to perception.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
-1 to strength.
Exactly.
Wow.
So it's
Video
just
games.
so that's why people feel like when they fast and they've been heavy on carbohydrates, your body's craving it because you've taught it that's what to crave. It's not that it needs it. Your body does not need it. You can get away with unrefined carbohydrates and healthy fats and proteins and still be really good.
It's like crack. Your body doesn't need crack.
yeah, it's true.
I mean, I disagree.
But it really
but,
wants it after you've had it a little bit.
Yeah, dude.
But
Streets of Rage?
but yeah, no, that's my answer to you, Evan. That's my science fight that I'm gonna.
Okay, name 2.
All right, before we move on to
I
the
think I
next
named
topic,
a few in that conversation.
This podcast is now going to be how to drop fat fast.
well,
with
make that
intermittent
our
fasting.
title and see if we get like an influx of like moms from New Jersey trying to watch or something.
And we also got Evan's foot on, so we got our regular viewers.
Put them away. Before
And
we move
now
on
I'm
to our
trying to
next-
become spiritual with our fan base.
Hey, Gwyneth Paltrow, how about you stick some crystals on my asshole?
Well,
Can we come up with a dick cheese candle?
Oh my god!
Candle.
Oh,
Candle
I
is
would
dick
set upon my
cheese.
worst enemy.
It's the wax is dick cheese.
why'd you say that?
If you smell this candle, the Dick Cheese candle, you will have wet dreams that you don't have to clean up.
I heard about that.
What?
What?
What? Oh, Jared, you're having wet dreams.
No.
I've never had a wet dream ever once.
I've wanted one.
I never had one ever once.
All right. What is coming out in video? Let's bring it back. We've talked too much about intellectual things that are beneficial to our health. Time to talk about video games again. What's coming out this year, boys?
We're gonna
What are
go
you
through the
excited?
year.
We're gonna go through the year.
So
Look
when
at
you
that.
January to March, it's not really too exciting.
We got Monster Hunter World Iceborne for Windows. Wow,
Oh, is that a
that's
DLC?
like it's like the big expansion.
Oh, that totally could have come out with the original
Shut up.
game.
We got Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
Yeah.
That I'm excited for, but I've been really on the fence about whether or not I'm going to pre-order it. I feel like it's unlikely that I'll actually even give it a ton of time, so I'm going to see how it turns out. And then
For
Zombie
Green
Army
Ninja,
4.
Yeah, we got
Darksiders
Zombie
game?
Army 4. We
It's
got
a
Dark-
top-down game. Like it's top.
I'm gonna probably see if Peter wants to stream that because that's a co-op game.
Is Beyond Good and Evil 2 set to come out this year?
I don't know. I don't think.
that
No, actually,
game
no,
will
it's
ever
not.
fucking come out.
Yeah, who is that again? What's the company? What's
I
their
actually
Ubisoft?
don't- yeah,
They
Ubisoft.
have some issues
Iron Man
right now.
VR. I can be Iron Man.
Apparently, Eric, you were saying like people said bad things about it or something.
About what?
Iron Man
Iron Man
VR, or was
VR?
that Matt who said
was
that?
me.
I
No.
haven't.
This is something that we all should make a habit of not doing is going to the Discover section on Snapchat seeing
I do
one-
that so much.
one word, one sentence, and believing that
does.
sentence to be true. Basically,
sentence-
literally, the only reason I have to believe that Iron Man VR is bad is because I was just on that side of Snapchat, which I never do because I really, really hate the Discover section on Snapchat. But that's not what we're here to talk about.
Oh, it's
today.
quite terrible.
It is quite terrible. It was basically Watch Mojo saying this game was going to be really bad, or just something to that effect, which gave me the impression
Well, of course
that
it's
it was
going to be bad. It's not.
Wait, come on, spit it out.
It's not on Windows.
Yeah, well, it's
Citizen Kane.
It's not BioShock.
Oh yeah.
Watch
nothing,
Mojo's
nothing.
favorite game of all time. It's the best game of all time, BioShock.
So then for game releases, and then boom, March hits.
Okay, what's
Final
I'm waiting.
Fantasy.
Okay, Mystery Dungeon. Okay.
And
The
then
Final
3
Fantasy
days later,
7 remake's gonna be. Why is it all? I hate that.
Ori and the
Ori.
Will of the Wisps.
Okay.
That's pretty big. Neo
Fairy
2.
Tail.
That's pretty big.
Oh,
Animal
Animal
Crossing
Crossing.
New Horizons. That's huge. Both Dooms.
Oh right, they're coming out with
Doom
the
64
old
is gonna be
Doom.
great.
Bleeding Edge might be interesting too.
Bleeding Edge is something.
Doom
that
64, I think, is the only Doom I've actually played all the way. through.
Half-Life
Half-Life
Alyx,
Alyx?
which is very. I'm still very skeptical, just because like
it's only on
3
Windows.
people in the world are going to be able to play the game.
Half-Life.
What do you mean?
I'll play it.
It's for
Maybe.
it's a VR game
Oh,
for
never mind.
Valve's VR service. So it's like you have to have a high-end computer and you have to
Yeah.
have the VR. So it's like
Oh, so even if you
Who-
have like an HTC,
At least we
Vive,
can
it
watch
just won't
Markham
work.
the most
Those 2 in a row are
anticipated
big.
sequel for games probably ever.
Oh my god!
Did you see
No
the
one
one
Road to
they-
Boruto.
Boruto.
Did you see the gameplay trailer for Half-Life Alyx though? It happened on the floor, dude. That shit blew.
It looked great, but yeah, like 2
nobody's
people
playing.
get to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
exactly.
I
it.
like Donkey's video about it, where it was like, thanks for my sock back, by the way. I'm done connecting with the Earth, anyways. Where Donkey's just like, yeah, Valve hasn't produced a game in over 10 years, and all of a sudden, boom, Half-Life.
Wow.
Resident Evil 3 will be hype.
That was the T.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk will be hype. I'm really
the
excited
the
for Resident
remake
Evil
for
3.
Resident Evil 3 is gonna be so good.
Minecraft
Oh, yeah.
Dungeons.
Trials of Mana that never came.
Fast
out
and Furious
in the
Crossroads.
It's Crossy Road.
Was that the one that was at the Video Game Awards?
Yeah.
Yes!
Vehicular combat.
Oh, that is that one. Oh, gross.
Marvel's
Marvel
Avengers,
Avengers.
which is
We'll see how that is.
yeah.
I'm sitting back and like
people
I want
are
to see how it goes.
People are think that gameplay demo was like amazing, and like I get that some people like that, but like a Marvel game where you just go through like a set piece like that, like how can that be good?
Yeah,
I feel like you need almost a full open world.
You don't
Pick your
need-
hero and
I don't think you need
play
an open
missions.
world, but you need like better level structure, not just like where it's so scripted, you know?
yeah.
I guess we'll see how it turns out. Because I mean, they also said that they're gonna do entirely free DLC for this game, which is kind of nuts. Like you're getting whatever you get with that first $80, but that's also gonna take you for a while as the game continues.
Sword
Yeah.
Art Online. They're making a game for it.
They've made
They've
lots
made
of
a lot
games.
of games.
Yeah, there. I think
Well, 'cause,
one
like,
might have just gone on to Game Pass actually.
The show's still coming out with new content, so like.
The show's not, I enjoy the show.
I thought the show only had 2 seasons.
No, there's a
I
third season.
enjoyed the show for one
no.
half
it
of
has
one
guns in
season.
it,
So-
right?
okay, the
Sword
second
Art
season part was not.
Yeah, the second season was total.
Who's your
poo-poo
daddy?
trash.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
need
even the second
incest
half of the
weirdness.
first season was poo poo trash. Only the first
It's the
half of
only
the first
thing
season
coming
was
out.
the best.
Sword Art Online is
Yeah,
actually
that's
like
totally gonna stick that way. The first year that nothing good is gonna come out between October and December.
Who's your daddy?
Not
that
you.
game is
Not
tight.
you.
Oh, unscheduled games.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, Action Verge 2. I didn't know that was
Bravely
coming.
Default
Dungeon.
2.
Boyfriend Dungeon. I can't.
Another-
Total War
uh,
for Troy will be good.
Another
Axiom
bed
Verge
game.
2.
Delicious
That's sick.
3. Deadly Premonition.
Oh, we
2.
got the new Dark Pictures
Death Stranding.
anthology game.
Oh, kind of Windows. I didn't know that.
I might try it there because I did want to play it.
I've been playing it a bit, and so far it's been
Dying Light 2.
fun. I've been
Yeah.
enjoying Death Stranding.
Dying
what's
Light
that
2,
about?
I'm super excited.
Yeah, I'll be getting
The
that.
Dungeons and Dragons game.
What's
Do we know much
Eastward?
about that?
Eastward's
Yeah.
coming out, but with
Dark Alliance was like an old game on PS2. Dark Alliance, I think there's 3 of them or 2 of them.
Oh, by Chuck.
Yeah,
and
but
that
it's
was
coming
that
out
had a
by
huge
the
amount to.
publisher.
No, I know,
Isn't-
but that's who it was. They took a role in it as well with the original games.
No, sorry, I was talking about Eastward. It's coming. It's coming out from the publisher of Stardew Valley,
Former publisher.
or former publisher. You're right. Yeah.
British.
That
They had some
Ghost
controversy
of Ghost of Tsushima. That was that game where that girl, she like left the game. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
It was like that Japanese girl, and she was like,
Oh, we
she
didn't
was
get
very
to watch
cute.
that one because Peter's in
Gods and
that.
Monsters. That should
That's
be
from
interesting.
Ubisoft.
I'm
Oh.
guessing Ghost of Tsushima will get pushed.
When's the is the new Rainbow Six given
What-
a release
What?
date yet?
What new Rainbow Six?
There's a new Rainbow Six coming out.
I'll go
No,
to R then. But I don't
Rainbow
gonna
Six
see
is
Halo
the
4.
is not like the
No.
number of games that have been released.
Wait, are they coming out with another Medal of Honor game? Scroll up.
Wait, go
No,
back.
it's not.
Peter, go back.
Yeah, I'll
No,
go
it
back
isn't.
to the top.
What the
You're the
hell is
worst
that?
person on this.
So around here, Gods and Monsters.
It only
Oh,
makes
what's
a bunch
Halo?
of money.
I think I've heard of this
Damn
franchise.
Halo Infinite. You motherfuckers are gonna make me buy the new Xbox just to play that damn game.
Well,
No,
son of a bitch.
everything is being released on for the first 2 years. Every game being released on the X series is being released on the original Xbox One. That's what they said. Whether
That's
they
pretty
stick to
sick.
that,
Hot damn, Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga.
I think they're
Baby.
God.
I believe it's not like a compilation as if they've been in the past. I think they're actually redoing like.
No, yeah,
all
it's gonna
of the
be all
games.
9 movies.
Yeah, but like
as-
no, because like usually when they release like big compilations, like that's the Skywalker saga, so it's all 3 trilogies.
Yeah.
Like when they did like say the trilogy that was just the first 2 together, they're just taking the games and putting them on. They're
you
not
mean the first
changing
3 together?
Yeah, no, they'll update the graphics, but it'll be the exact same thing. But yeah.
Pokemon Sleep.
There was just Lego Star Wars. Then there was Lego
Pokemon
Star
Sleep.
Wars 2. Then there was Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga. Then they came out with Lego Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and now they're coming out with Lego Star Wars.
You should do a
The
video
Skywalker
essay
Saga.
on Lego Star
Dude,
Wars.
Lego
I
Star
might
Wars is
very
actually
well.
sick.
Why not?
Rust? Oh, coming to Xbox.
Rust?
Rust.
Wow, they're coming out with a game with that one map from Call of Duty. It's crazy.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I heard
Battle
there's
for Bikini Bottom rehydrated.
Wait, actually, you didn't know about that?
Rehydrated.
Holy shit!
This is this
Yes, this is the year of remakes for me, baby. I'm actually stoked for that game. That game was sweet, man.
Battle for Bikini Bottom is a classic. For the
I never
GameCube.
played it.
You're
It was
in
on-
for a treat,
I
Peter.
had it on PS2. It was sick.
I-
Man.
I-
It was actually I had the greatest hits version too. PlayStation's
God.
greatest hits. So
I had
it
the
was, it was
original
red.
version.
It was red.
Oh wow.
I had all the DLC. There was no DLC.
I was just saying there was DLC. What the?
back in the day
That's
when we had a
hype.
game and that was it.
Actually, SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom was the first game to ever come out with DLC. They are the issue. They started the toxicity that is DLC, not Game Freak.
Are they the scourge? of
Surgeon
gaming?
Simulator 2.
Surgeon Simulator 2. That's gonna be very.
I'm
less
There it
curious
is.
to see how
Rainbow
System
Six
Shock
Quarantine, April to March.
Oh, there it is. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Quarantine.
I'm very
I hope
excited
it comes
about
out in
that.
March.
Yeah,
I
that's-
hate you. Do you? What did I do to you?
Why would they give that big of a timestamp, like one whole year?
Because they're still producing stuff for their other game right now, so they're probably deviating
You
it.
got Toho.
Better.
New Toho's coming out.
What the hell is
What's
Toho?
that?
It's like that insane bullet hell, where there's like constant shit being thrown at you.
Why does it say it's a racing game?
When
Gotta go fast.
Maybe there's
maybe it's
I
a
don't know.
racing.
Because this is
Yeah, maybe
Wikipedia,
there's
and you
different
can't
types.
take Wikipedia.
Oh, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition.
Did
That's pretty
anyone expect Watch Dogs when it first came out to become like a trilogy?
Well,
It seemed like a game that was just going to be a one-off, but now this is the third one coming out.
It's not a trilogy though.
It
They're
is
they're
now.
they're but they're independent entities.
So I was under the opinion
Oh,
that
I
Watch
guess,
Dogs, the original, having played it for not a very long period of time, was doo doo.
Yeah, I did not.
Yeah, the
like
second
enjoyed
one was
it.
supposed to be better.
The second one was pretty good.
So I heard the second one was also doo doo. I really need to check my sources. But
Yeah.
that the
This is
truth?
the second
you
thing you're
use
saying is
Snapchat
doo-doo.
as your sources apparently.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's true.
No, like honestly, they were good. They were good games. I mean, they weren't like my favorite games I've ever played, but they weren't bad. Like I don't know. I feel like again, it was one of those things where people, it was so hyped that they got it.
Yeah,
And
I
they were
think
like,
that was
"Oh, I
the
can't believe this
issue.
is all I got."
It's like Rivals of Ether.
Watch Dogs 2 was regarded well though.
I think Watch Dogs 2 I hear was really good. Watch Dogs 1 though, yeah, it should have been better, but it kind of was a little boring for me.
Yeah, I just heard Watch Dogs 2 like went all in on like more of the silliness,
Yeah.
so that it was
Yeah, this story
more
wasn't-
aware of what it was.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hey, and I guess that's a year of gaming.
Wow. What's everyone's most anticipated game? As of right now.
like confirmed coming out.
Yeah.
Confirmed date of release.
Yeah, let's go like confirmed date.
Do you want to go back up?
I mean,
Yeah, let's go back up.
without confirmed date, mine is like definitely Halo Infinite.
I thought it has a confirmed date.
No, it
No,
doesn't.
it
No,
doesn't. It's
it's just a-
Q3, Q4, and I'll probably get pushed into Christmas of 2020.
Yeah.
2021.
Well, isn't it supposed to coincide with the release of the Series X?
Well, it's probably going to be launched with it, yeah. So you're probably
So
right.
yeah, it's gonna be the holidays for sure.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm struggling to think of one. I kind of put all of my effort of anticipating games in last year, so
Go down
I'm
further,
excited
Peter.
for the
For
Sword and
Mystery
Shield
Dungeon.
DLC. Does that count?
I'm excited for Mystery Dungeon. That's probably, honestly, out of all the ones that are announced, for like given a release date, that's probably the only game. I'm
For
gonna
me,
be
it's
getting.
probably Cyberpunk or Resident Evil 3.
Yeah, after last
Cyberpunk, yeah, absolutely.
after last year
Cyberpunk.
for me, it's Resident Evil 3. 'Cause Resident Evil 2 is
Yeah,
such
Capcom's
a
been
good
doing a
game.
good job with remaking their games.
Capcom's been blowing it out of the park in like
Literally
past few
since
years.
I'd say like the originals were pretty good. I mean, aged but pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Since, but the exception of Resident Evil 6, which was still not a bad game. It just was like didn't feel like a Resident Evil. It felt like a shooter more than a survival horror.
it had some issues.
I'd say they've never really released a bad game. Like they've released different kinds of games. They may not fit your certain play style. Like I never considered Resident Evil 5
Well, they're
a horror game, but it was super fun. Like Eric and I played. I think I played through that game at least 3 or 4 times in co-op because it was
Yeah.
so fun to play co-op.
there was that one Resident Evil like Operation Raccoon City or something where apparently it was like a multiplayer team deathmatch game, and I've seen gameplay of that, and that's a bad game.
Okay.
That's objectively
I didn't
just
even know
not
that
good.
existed.
Yeah, you should consider yourself lucky.
They announced they were talking about the new. Let's finish this. I'll talk about that after.
Okay. Yeah, Resident Evil 3. Matt.
Does the Sword and Shield DLC count?
No.
Okay, then I don't know. Mystery Dungeon. Well, so
Yeah.
I guess Mystery Dungeon.
Well, no, Mystery Dungeon. It's not far enough into 2020 for me to get like super hyped out of it. Because before I know it, it's gonna be out. And I was thinking of pre-ordering it. I'm gonna play the demo and see how it is. I mean, it's not like I doubt that it's gonna be a
Spoiler
good game.
alert.
Is it good?
It's going to be the same game as the original
Yeah, I
one.
don't know. I just,
It's gonna,
I think
gonna be
you
a
know
good
what you're
thing.
going to be getting from
yeah,
this one.
it's okay. Mystery Dungeon, because it's the list of games that I know for an absolute fact I'm gonna get is just so small. Like I'm not even gonna pre-order Kakarot. I'm gonna see how it does and then maybe buy it. But like I just play the same games over and over again, and I never make time for new games. And when I do, it's like an hour, and then I go back to playing Pokemon Shield.
No, you just get frustrated after dying once, and then you turn off the game and go to Pokemon.
That is not the truth.
That is completely
That is not
true.
the truth.
That's why
That
it's
is
not
what
Nintendo
happens
games.
every time.
Oh, come on.
that's I'm trying to be better with that this
So
year.
It's not
I'm
as
on-
easy as Pokemon.
Like last year I only beat 3 games as I figured out. I'm already on track to beat 2 games within the next couple weeks.
I've already beaten 4 this year.
so
Lucky, I guess.
they were talking about the new Assassin's Creed Ragnarok coming out, and they're again
Alrighty.
the rumor behind it. And I know this for a lot of people doesn't matter. Like I love the Assassin's Creeds. The only one I was okay with was Unity, but that's besides the point. And 3 was meh.
Opinion, isn't it?
I liked 3, but because it was just an Assassin's Creed, but it wasn't like the best story in the world.
3.
But the new one.
Dog shit.
The new one apparently, it's Ragnarok, so it's using Vikings. It's gonna be, I think that's already kind of interesting. I'm interested to see how they take that. The other thing is it's a rumor is it's a co-op story.
I've seen that too.
So apparently, and I'm excited about that because a lot of games that have been coming with co-op, like Unity was like a multiplayer mode where you could play with 4 people and do some missions, and it was like meh. But if they're gonna do it so it's like the whole story as a co-op, that is pretty insane because there's so many times where it's like, I don't know, and you go to one of them forts and you're like, I want to assassinate these people. If you had 2 of you working together to figure out that shit, like I feel like that'd be insane.
That would be hype.
So
That
it's
would
like,
be
I don't
really
know.
sick.
I'm excited. I know it doesn't have a set release date, but I'm super excited for that game. Just hearing that, and I think it's just a cool time period that they're going after there. So
I'll let you know now. That's not coming out this year.
I know it's not going out this year. It's
Nothing
definitely
from
going to
Ubisoft
be.
is.
It's going to probably be a next gen kind of title.
Wouldn't even be next year. Ubisoft's I think, taken a breather for a bit.
Yeah, fair
Well,
enough.
they gotta freaking release Beyond Good and Evil before they do anything else.
Ah.
Well,
you know
looking
how
from
you
the
know that
outside
game's
in.
been announced for like 10 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Which game?
Like the first trailer for Beyond Good and Evil 2 came out like back in like 2012.
It's another Final Fantasy 15.
Didn't they do that with Quake too? Like they were gonna make a new Quake, and they who does Quake? It's
That's
Bethesda. But they announced that like the first Quake came out, which was like it was a loved game for the community that followed it. I didn't really get into it, but then apparently it was like the whole Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas to Fallout 4 thing, where it's like such a huge period of time where it's just like no anything. Like they're like people basically gave up, and then all of a sudden they were like, oh yeah, it's announced, and then again it was like a huge period until anything came out.
Please don't announce your game unless it's coming out in the next 2 years.
What it was?
Just please.
I feel like in
it
the
was
next
Fallout
year.
4, right? Where they were like, "Yeah, E3. Here's Fallout 4. It's coming out September.
Yeah.
There you go." And everyone was like,
Holy shit.
"Oh, oh!"
Yeah, which was a
Yeah.
huge,
Oh,
which,
yeah,
which
yeah.
was
Fallout
like I played a lot of that app. Like it didn't really have much longevity once you got to a certain point, because after a while your vault just became so self-functioning that it was just like, okay, I go in, I'm like tap tap tap, I'm done, good.
How did Bethesda fall so fast?
They've fallen from grace.
They'll,
They better be all cylinders firing for Doom Eternal, or else like that's it. I think
is-
That's one
It
game they
is
haven't
pretty
really done bad by though. Like they've never really had a negative reception of their Doom games, have they?
not Doom, but their last Wolfenstein
That
that
didn't go
that
well.
was not
The
received
Colossus
well.
one, the
No,
Wolfenstein
there's
2
another one.
Colossus?
Youngblood.
No, there was one that
The-
came out. It was called Wolfenstein Youngblood, I think.
Yeah, that's it.
oh.
That was shit.
Yeah, apparently it was just off. I saw gameplay and like just from seeing it, I was like, that's not.
Hell
that's not
yeah,
Wolfenstein.
When the first Wolfenstein by Bethesda came out, I thought it was the same thing as the company that used to make them back in the day, because there was an old Wolfenstein
Yeah, yeah.
game
Oh, yeah.
that I played that was like a futuristic Nazis kind of thing, which
Yeah.
they've still, from my understanding, they kept.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
But I thought it would be the same play style, same everything. So when I was playing that game, I was like, oh, it's all right. And then I see this new game trailer when they released their version of Wolfenstein, and I was like, what the fuck is
Yeah.
this? This is so much faster paced than what I saw.
Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, I bought it like over a year ago, and I still really want to play it because like I remember watching some gameplay of you playing it, and instantly it was like, this game is the sickest thing I've
Well,
ever
like
seen.
it won the year it came out. It won awards for its narrative and stuff during the
Yeah.
Game
Yeah,
Awards
it's
and
like a
stuff.
sick.
I installed it. I wanna play
there
it.
were some parts that were just that got me so hyped that I wouldn't want to spoil it. Like the ending was really hype, and then I guess just like the shocking moment of the game was really well done.
Yeah, I hear there's like a really intense. Like I've seen the cutscene, so there is a really intense scene with like Hitler in it. like you're like in his.
Oh,
his
that's
office or
that's
something.
another scene that's not even the one I was thinking
Yeah.
of.
But I've installed that game because I want to check it out because I'm interested. I like it looked interesting. I just haven't ever gotten into it. I've had other games that have come out that have more interested myself.
Yeah.
That's
All right, guys. I think that's the podcast for the day.
No, it's not, Peter.
Peter,
Do you want to talk about Gwyneth Paltrow more?
No. All right. That's the podcast.
Thanks for tuning into our podcast. If you were watching it live or if you're watching it when it releases.
I love you,
Next
Dusty.
weekend.
In the future, like this podcast if you're watching it in the year 2025.
Remember,
Why
strong
can't they-
teacher.
How about like this podcast
Poetic
at any
soldier.
point if you like the podcast? You don't have to wait till 2025 to like this podcast.
Yeah, set the alarm in your phone.
Open-minded advocate.
Yeah, we got hacked. Well,
No, he didn't.
Eric got
Clever
hacked.
girl.
Eric got a virus. No, we got some whack comments on today's podcast that came out today, being last week when you watched this video on YouTube.
Unless it's live right now that you're watching. then
It's just
today.
it's just such a
Deception.
dichotomy, you know. It's
Either
either
way.
this week or next week.
Either way, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We will be back next week for another podcast and more fun content this week.
And don't forget to take your socks off every so often
my
and
goodness.
connect with the earth.
And that's it.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.